A very good evening. You're now with me, Radzi Ahmad, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. The increasingly severe haze engulfing Sarawak has led to the postponement of 3 major state programs scheduled to take place from the end of this month to early September. Sarawak Disaster Management Committee SDMC Chairman Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Embas says the move is a precautionary measure to reduce public exposure to unhealthy air quality.
The major events include the Sarawak Kusayang program and the state-level 2026 National Day celebrations in August, as well as the 100th anniversary celebration of Rumah Mendit Penom in early September. He adds that activities or events involving large crowds, particularly those held outdoors, are also advised to be postponed to a more suitable date. He also reassures that the SDMC, together with relevant agencies, will continue to monitor the situation and coordinate measures based on the latest developments to ensure any risks to the public safety and health are addressed appropriately. Earlier, the Sarawak Islamic Religious Department had also released a statement cancelling all state-level outdoor Maulidur Rasul gatherings and instead limited to indoor venues, depending on the current haze situations.
Childcare centers in Sarawak will be closed immediately if the Air Pollutant Index (IPU) reaches 200, in line with the decision previously made by the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Dato' Sri Nancy Shukri says the measure is aimed at protecting children from exposure to haze, which could affect their health.
Nancy says the measure is aimed at protecting children as air quality is expected to deteriorate in the coming weeks, which could cause difficulties for them and their families. Regarding a separate directive from the federal ministry, Nancy says there is no need for one, as the matter is already covered by the state-level directive. As for working parents, she says the matter would have to be managed by the respective state governments as the directive falls under state jurisdiction. She notes that work-from-home arrangements are still being implemented in Peninsular Malaysia, while Sarawak would have to await further direction from the state government.
Meanwhile, rabies has claimed 87 lives out of 94 reported cases in Sarawak since July 2017. Recording a fatality rate of almost 93%. In a speech delivered by Kuching South Mayor Dato' Wee Hong Seng, Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Koo Hian says the figure highlights the importance of taking immediate action following any animal bite or scratch.
1. Feed pets annually. Responsible pets owner create an active protective buffer in your neighborhood. Second, wash and run. Immediately wash any animal's bite or scratch under running water, soak for at least 15 minutes, and head straight to the nearest health clinic. Do not wait for the symptom.
He says efforts to combat rabies require the involvement of all levels of society, including children and youth, pet owners, non-governmental organizations, academic researchers, healthcare workers, and community leaders. He stresses that only through prevention across all sectors of society can the state achieve its target and contribute to the global mission of zero human rabies death by 2030. Based on the latest data from the Sarawak Veterinary Services Department, 23 dogs and 3 cats have tested positive for rabies so far this year.
In other news, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim has been conferred Brunei's highest state honor, the Darjah Kerabat Laila Utama, which carries the title Dato' Laila Utama. The honor was conferred by Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah at Istana Nurul Iman during Anwar's working visit to Brunei for the 27th Malaysia-Brunei Annual Leaders Consultation.
The ceremony was witnessed by the 3 of the Sultan's sons, Crown Prince Al-Muhtadi Billah, Prince Abdul Malik and Prince Abdul Matin. The honor is traditionally conferred on members of the royal family, heads of state or government, and foreign dignitaries. Previous Malaysian recipients include former Prime Ministers Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the late Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, and Dato' Sri Najib Razak, as well as the late Sarawak Governor Tun Abdul Taib Mahmud. Anwar then continued with the ALC 27, holding a 4 eyes meeting with Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah, followed by the signing and exchange of several MOUs. The agreements include cooperation in disaster management involving Malaysia's National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA. Also accompanying Anwar were Sarawak Premier Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji Jinor, and other Malaysian delegates.
Welcome back. The long-standing border dispute between Malaysia and Brunei, which has dragged on for almost 60 years, is expected to be resolved with the setting of basic parameters for a settlement before the year end. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim says both countries are fundamentally committed to ensuring that the rights and interests of Malaysia and Brunei are protected, based on valid legal and border demarcation principles.
Isu persempadan yang tertangguh yang sekian lama dan kita cuba meterai dan nampak ada persefahaman awal yang baik, iaitu kawasan-kawasan yang dipersetujui sebagai milik Brunei dan milik Sarawak Malaysia itu dipertahankan, dan atas semangat itu kita tidak lagi harus menangguh persefahaman.
This includes an agreement for both foreign ministers to meet with their respective teams as soon as possible to resolve areas where claims still overlap.
Tapi tentu bagi pihak kita, oleh kerana ia melibat juga kawasan yang melibatkan negeri Sarawak, sebab itulah Premier ada dan dilibatkan secara langsung supaya kepentingan Sarawak dan Malaysia itu dipertahankan sepenuhnya, sementara menghormati seperti mana saya sebut faktor sejarah, faktor undang-undang, faktor kaedah penentuan sempadan.
He says about 50% of the land border issue between the two countries has already been resolved, while the remaining areas still involve overlapping claims. In a separate development, Malaysia and Brunei have agreed to use the ASEAN mechanism to address the issue of transboundary haze following forest fires in Indonesia that are directly affecting Sarawak. Both countries agree that the ASEAN mechanism is the best approach to addressing the haze issue, which has transboundary impacts.
Terutama dalam keadaan sekarang di mana kita terjebak dengan permasalahan jerebu. Kedua-dua kita setuju supaya gunakan mekanisme ASEAN yang terbaiklah.
Yesterday, Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Mohamad Hassan said Malaysia would follow up on the issue through ASEAN channels. According to him, Malaysia, through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability, will submit an official letter to the ASEAN Secretariat in the near future.
A shocking tragedy in Sweden on Friday as a deadly sword attack turned a school's return from summer break into a nightmare. One person has been killed and 3 others wounded before police arrived and arrested the lone suspect.
Just after 2 p.m., an 18-year-old wearing a helmet and brandishing a sword burst into Brunei Skulan High School in a small town of Fagersta. When police arrived, they found one person dead inside.
Vår skadebild är att det är 3 stycken skadade personer och en avliden. Och att 2 av de skadade personerna ska vara allvarligt skadade, det vi fått från sjukvården.
3 others were injured, including 2 teenagers ages 12 to 17 who were rushed to the hospital with serious wounds. Investigators are now probing a removed TikTok account linked to the suspect, which featured videos referencing school attacks and a photo of a sword.
Motivet är någonting som vi jobbar vidare med att försöka fastställa. Det finns mängder med uppgifter att hantera kring det i nuläget.
The assault mirrors an infamous 2015 sword attack at a school in Trollhättan and comes amid a troubling pattern of violence in Swedish schools, including a mass shooting in Örebro earlier this year.
Indonesia is pouring massive military reinforcements into Kalimantan as raging wildfires consume over 200,000 hectares, an area 3 times the size of Jakarta. Driven by a powerful El Niño drought and amplified by global warming, the fires have already surpassed the destruction seen in both 2019 and 2023. Visiting the hard-hit region today, President Prabowo Subianto ordered 1,500 additional troops, or 3 full battalions, deployed immediately to help extinguish the blazes. 6 waterbombing helicopters are also arriving to boost aerial operations. Officials say the immediate priority is stopping new fire spots from spreading as extreme dry weather persists across the island. Now, Canada has decided to suspend its trade negotiations with the U.S. following the collapse of talks and failing to finalize a trade pact. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says negotiators had worked hard and in good faith to defend the country's interests until the very last minute, but withdrew after the U.S. took an unfair approach.
He adds that Ottawa had worked to strike a fair deal that would provide the best access to the U.S. market and greater certainty to Canadian businesses and workers. But last-minute changes to the U.S. proposed terms were deemed unfair and uneconomic, while also calling into question the reliability of any potential deal, prompting Carney to instruct Canada's negotiators to return to Ottawa. He says the U.S. intended to impose a 50% tariff on roughly $28 billion Canadian worth of Canadian goods at midnight. In response, Canada will match the tariffs dollar for dollar to protect Canadian workers and businesses. In the coming days, the government will introduce additional measures to support Canadian workers and business, building on the nearly $25 billion in support provided over the past 18 months. U.S. and Canadian trade negotiators failed to reach a deal after nearly 2 weeks of intense talks, which had remained optimistic about a deal until the very last moment.
And that's it for TVS Nightline. Thanks for watching and have a good night.